Welcome to No Time Like Joe Time, where we look at media and make connections to the real world. Unless we are in a simulation, then this was just a huge waste of time. I'm your host, Joseph Joe Jr. Shabadoo Johnson. Each week, I have a new guest host who helps me look at a clip. Today, I'm excited to have a very close friend and who is very dear to me. We often get confused for twins. Here he is, Greg Williams. Dude, thank you so much for being here. I am so glad we're doing this podcast together.
Yo, me too. I'm definitely happy to be here. Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, and congratulations on Battle Rap Unfiltered. I'm a huge fan, man. I've watched like every episode.
Really? Man, I appreciate that. I mean, it's humbling. Don't get me wrong. What's your favorite episode?
Oh, gosh. I mean, there are so many episodes to choose from. I really don't know if I could just choose one.
Well, I mean, was there any rap you've heard before or anything like that?
Yeah, of course. I know all the brands of rap.
Brands? What do you mean?
You know, like different companies that create thus brands.
Okay. Can you tell me an episode you liked?
Like I said, there's so many good ones. I mean, I can say all of them, really.
No. Like you to pick one, dummy.
Okay. Yeah, I really liked the episode where you showed how to wrap odd size packages.
What? Wait, you think my podcast is about wrapping gifts?
Well, yeah, I thought it was called Battle Rap Ungifted.
No, Joe, it's about music. It's Battle Rap Unfiltered. It's rap battles, music, gifts.
Well,
yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought that was weird. I just really wanted to be supportive.
I mean, you could have just watched one episode and you could have watched the trailer. I don't like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, I know. Hey, I'm sorry I lied. I mean, I guess it was silly to hope someone would do a wrapping paper channel.
Yeah. Unless for whatever reason it had to do with birthdays or Christmas or something like that, but no.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. I mean, my gifts suck this year with presents. I mean, sure, it would have been nice. I mean, I'm sure there's a market out there for, gift wrapping.
Yeah. You really think anyone would want to get in on that type of venture, if you will?
Welcome to Battle Rap Ungifted, all you haters. We're gonna teach you how to rap gifts as your teachers. We are best friends whose gift is rapping. So get your gift and don't be napping. It's Battle Rap Ungifted.
Welcome to Rap Battle Ungifted.
That is right. And we're gonna show you how to wrap best packages the best way.
Dude, we are going to hit it big time with this.
Bro, for sure. This is where the babes and all the fame is.
But I'm married.
I met Babe the Pig. Gotta get your mind out the gutter, man. Babe the Pig. I love me some bacon.
God, of course.
Yeah. We're good.
Yeah. For sizzle, my trizzle.
You're out.
I I think that was one of the more stupid but hilarious bits I've done so far. It was so, but I think that's kind of our personality, like our connection. We kind of really do good at feeding off each other.
It's sharing that sense of humor. I think that like just having different point, because not everybody has the exact same sense of humor, but it's different bits that come from it. I think like we just connect over the years, connected a lot in different aspects of our sense of humor.
Yeah, definitely. And I think what works is I think we somehow both have very similar humor, but we also are very different people. I don't know if I'm saying that well, because in the back of my head, like, I'm like, well, yes, Joe, everybody's different people. We're Siamese twins.
Exactly. Like that's established already, but we are different, even though we're twins.
I think like, so I think I haven't done this with many guests, but I think for this, I think it's worth kind of talking a little bit about our history. So I met Greg many, many years ago. I think at most I was in 9th grade.
What is that? 20?
I don't do math on this podcast.
24 years, I think.
That'd be about, yeah. I think you're dead on because I'm 39 now.
That. Yeah.
And it didn't take long for us to become the bestest of friends. And
why do you say it like that? You just say, we was cool. We got tight. The bestest of friends.
We were besties. But this is why it works, because I think one thing I remember talking to you about. So if you're listening to the podcast and you thought there were 2 white guys sitting here, good on you for not judging a voice.
Yeah, if you thought if you thought Joe was a white guy, I mean, you had it all wrong.
Joe's white enough for 2 people. But we I remember one time you were telling me, I think you had a job. Did you ever work at Cub Foods?
I did.
Okay. I think it was at Cub Foods. And you were telling me there was like a manager or somebody there who would, he'd kind of be acting normal, but then when he came to you, he'd be like, "What up, dog? What's up?" And just
okay. So not to cut you off, but I vaguely remember if that was at Cub, but that's happened to me a lot at various jobs. So you're in the right ballpark.
Yeah. And I've to this day, I don't do that. Like I'm just like, I'm going to come be myself. And I think that's why we've got along very well. As
yes,
you do your cool thing and I do my nerdy thing, and it works. I almost picked Scrubs. I came very close to picking Scrubs because I think we are very similar to JD and Turk.
You've always said this, Joe.
But I went with The Simpsons. So before we start jumping in, a couple things we do. We talk a little bit about our history with the show we're watching. Okay. So do you want to talk about like when you started to watch The Simpsons and kind of your relationship?
I grew up on The Simpsons, man. I think we grew up on The Simpsons, and I can't even say that we collectively, because this new generation just doesn't know some of the 90s things that we went through and watched and did and all that. But Simpsons was huge in the 90s.
Oh, yeah.
I remember Simpsons coming on at 5:00 and 5:30. Like to this day, I remember that it's faithfully when you get done with school and all that good stuff. Evening comes in, it starts rolling around dinner time. Boom, let's watch Simpsons, eat some food, cool. But yeah, I pretty much grew up on The Simpsons since I was a kid, man. Yeah. It's funny because I think that connects a lot of people that were born, 80s and 80s babies. We'll stick to that one.
Sure.
And grew up in the 90s and whatnot. Like I think we all have a lot of that in common when it comes to TV shows. Simpsons is a very, very pivotal, staple in our generation.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. I do think just the timing of it, I think it really did bring a bunch of people together.
Yeah.
And I don't know if much shows do that anymore.
I doubt it because I feel like reality TV is taking over. And
Ooh.
man, for real.
Yeah.
Like that, I don't even want to get into reality. I don't watch it. I just say that much. I don't watch it.
Next time we're gonna just watch reality TV clips and just be like, it sucks.
Don't pull any lessons from it. Just I can't hear anymore after that. Like what?
It's a 2-minute video. There, you wasted your life.
I swear, bro, it's bad that I feel like that. In all honesty, like I don't feel positive about reality TV. Some reality TV, let me not do all. Some reality TV, I'm just like, nah. A cartoon brought people together.
Yes.
Right? A cartoon.
Right. Well, and for those who are younger, I mean, The Simpsons were so different because at that time you had shows like Full House, Family Matters that were always showing like this perfect family. And Simpsons came along and showed dysfunction.
Yeah.
And I think that's why, I mean, for me growing up, I don't remember a time I wasn't watching The Simpsons. I actually asked my dad, I'm like, hey, do you remember when you started letting me watch The Simpsons? And he was like, I think we started letting you watching as soon as it came on. So I've been, as I tell Jack, I'm a purist who've watched everything, and I've seen all the new episodes too. But
do you still watch The Simpsons now?
Oh yeah. I watch it every night. Yep, I watch it every night.
You want to know what's crazy? I haven't watched The Simpsons in like over 7-8 years.
Yeah, that's a lot of people. When I tell people about The Simpsons, the first question I always get is, "Are they still on?" And I'm like, "Yes, they're still making new seasons." And I love that they're making new seasons, just because this is really weird. I haven't said this before, but it's like there's a connection to my past still. Like that's still on. Like it's almost like that's the last remaining bit of my childhood still holding on.
I understand that feeling because it's actually like kind of like a sadness, but in the sense of a happiness, if you will, because there's the laughter behind it. But I think for me, I'm attached to those vintage episodes to where I'm like, I can't do the new ones. Yeah. And that's why I haven't watched it. I've looked at a newer episode and could instantly tell like this isn't the same. And I didn't like it. And that's why I strayed away from it. But
yeah,
there's still love for The Simpsons, man. Still love.
Yeah, exactly. And when, we were talking about how it's kind of, it just has a different spin of imperfections.
Yeah.
One thing, it covers so many things no other shows have covered at the time. And I'm also thinking about when you're talking about it's brought people together, it's brought friendship together. This is going to kind of go with our first clip. We find, when we have something like that with bonds us with people, it's kind of a good like stepping stone for a friendship. But it's not enough to cover it. And one thing we often see in The Simpsons is like there's times like Bart, isn't always a good friend. I think it's really cool. Like, I shouldn't say cool, but it's interesting how Bart and like Nelson, they're sometimes friends, but then there's other times just Nelson's playing the bully.
Yeah.
And that just kind of got me thinking about like friendship. And friendship to me is very interesting because like if you're dating somebody, you're looking for traits, and you're like, oh, I really like this about you, I like this. And if you're like, oh, this doesn't seem to be a fit, you kind of break up.
Right.
But with friends, you don't really do that. It's kind of almost feels like at times that you're just, oh, I'm in this friend group now. And
like it's like if you become friends with someone, that is it. It's harder to break away from them than it would be an intimate relationship, if you will, or whatnot.
Yeah.
I get that. I do. Why do you think that is, though?
Well, I think part of it is, you know, I'm a guy who likes my scripts. And I mean that in the sense of, it's why I like public speaking so much. There's a script. I know I'm going to go up there. I'm going to talk. I have my set amount of time. I know my beginning, my middle, my end. Got it. Dating. I know the script. We're going to go out, do some dating, do some of this stuff. Friendship, there's not really a script. Like, I mean, maybe like if you hang out with somebody once or twice and you're like, oh, that was kind of weird, you just don't reach out again. And that's pretty easy. But, you know, for somebody who's been friends with people like from your childhood and they start growing up, and then like if they, you know, start getting into questionable things, I think it's harder to break away from that because that's all you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I think
sounds like expectations.
Yeah, maybe
Like,
expectations and yeah, keep going.
I think like I learned early on that anger comes from expectations unmet.
Mm-hmm.
Now, like take away the anger part of it, but the emotional part of it. And when you walk into a relationship, you have an expectation, and therefore, when they don't meet those expectations, you're like, I have to walk away. I can't keep you here as a friend when I initially tried to bring you in as a intimate relationship. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I think that makes sense.
But I don't know. I don't know.
Have you ever had somebody kind of gaslight you?
See, here's the thing with me and gaslighting. I don't feel like there's a solid definition. I feel like that term was created like recently with this new generation. Mm-hmm. So I always go, what is gaslighting?
Let's say you had a fish and my dog ate your fish. And then I was like, Greg, you never even had a fish. It's not even real. Or if I was like disrespectful to your sister, more serious one. And you're like, dude, what the hell? And I'm like, dude, I hardly even talk to her. What's your problem? Why? Well, like, why are you acting like this? And kind of like,
oh gosh,
taking something that happened and it like changing the view on it.
Yeah, it's funny. I recently had a situation like that where a friend of mine lived in Texas, and she contacted me prior to Christmas, and she's like, "Yo, I'm gonna come up there for a week. I'd like to see you at some point." I'm like, "Cool." So I wait a week and a half, no answer, no call, no nothing. I'm like, okay. So then I just kind of throw the reminder, hey, you know, are you in town? Are we still hanging out? And the response I got was like, oh, I'm just so busy. And I'm like, all right. I just kind of was like, okay.
Yeah.
And then like I gave it a few more days, and then I was like, hey, what's up? And the person was like, you know, you have unrealistic expectations. And I was like, what? What do you mean? and then proceeded to block me on all my social media platforms and through text messages, everything. And I just was like, what? How did we get here? But
what just happened?
Yeah, yeah, because those type of situations, it doesn't make me go crazy, but I'm a thinker. I'm an overthinker. So I just get deep into thought, like, did I do something?
Sure.
Well, like I try to understand it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And stuff like that. That's why I think I don't attach the word gaslighting or the definition, because I'm just like, I don't have time to process what that was. I'm better off just going, nope, never happened.
Yeah. I hear you. And actually, I think this is a good segue. Let's watch our first clip. I think this is a good kind of illustration.
Hey, Bart, Laddie's the best dog in the world. He's nothing like your old dog.
Santa's little helper? Guess I was the only one who loved him.
You got that right. Remember the time you ate my goldfish and you lied to me and said I never had any goldfish? But why'd I have the bowl, Bart? Why did I have the bowl?
That's such a quotable line. Why'd I have the Bart bowl? Or why'd I have the Bart? Why'd I have the bowl, Bart? Why'd I have the bowl?
Probably one of my top. That's what I say. My top three. Top three Simpsons moments for me. Oh gosh.
And I told you this. I picked this one because I always think of you. Because I remember years and years ago, we were with my brother and you told us about this episode. And it was so funny. And there's so many things I like about it that, like, I don't know if Milhouse fully believes yet he did have goldfish.
No, I don't think so either. I think he's still like speculating, like, did I really have goldfish? He's like, he's pinning his emotions. This is so deep for no reason. He's pinning his negative emotions on the fact that Santa's little helper is gone. And he's like, yeah, because I'm not sure if I had goldfish, but this feels good to know. Like,
and just like, you know, trying to convince Bart too, like, why'd I have the bowl, Bart? Why'd I have the bowl? And like, I feel like that happens in gaslighting where, I mean, Milhouse kind of looks ridiculous here. I mean, could you imagine hearing this conversation in real life? You were like walking on the street and you hear some guy be like, remember when your dog ate my fish and you lied and said I never had fish? Why'd I have the bowl, Tom? Why'd I have the bowl?
And he sounds like the type of dude that like, people walk past. He's like, can you believe this guy? Like, I did have a fish. I swear I had a fish. Like, he's saying I didn't. Like, dude, you don't believe it.
Yeah. And I think that's like, I think I've had times where I've never had it very severely, but I think I've had some relationships in the past where I think some family I've had would kind of like blow things out of proportion. And I'm like, what's going on? Like, why weren't you here to help? And I'm like, I didn't know they needed help. Why are you suddenly just like, bam, here? And kind of putting narrative in my story that's not there.
Okay.
Like, oh, you weren't there because you didn't care. I'm like, no, I didn't know.
Yeah.
And so there's some pretty, and I think too, like, to kind of sidestep over to relationships. I think sometimes that's why people stay in abusive relationships is I think it's easy to be like, no, you're overreacting. That's normal. That's just what it is. It's pretty easy to kind of convince the other person of something you wouldn't think would be that hard to convince. Like in this, like Bart was convincing Milhouse he didn't have fish, but maybe for others, it's convincing them they don't have dignity or they don't.
I feel like it's like Milhouse is fighting for the love he has for Bart. I want to believe you because you're my best friend. I want to believe you because I don't think you would do this or that or lie to me.
Yeah.
I want to believe you because the way I feel about this goldfish, you don't feel the same way. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't know how strong I feel about this goldfish.
Oh, wow. So, yeah.
When I'm sitting here expressing to you, like, give me the clarity that your dog ate my goldfish. Like, at least give me that sanity. That's the chaotic emotions going on in Milhouse's mind, while Bart's looking at it like, man, I'm not trying to get my dog in trouble. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to make it, let me just, can we sweep this under the rug?
Yeah.
And it's like, there's that separation.
Yeah.
And, I think it comes from perspective.
Yeah.
Just understanding other people's perspective.
Yeah, I think that's so impactful. Yeah, I think he is. I mean, fish clearly meant a lot to Milhouse, and Bart didn't see that as meaningful. And just having the fish swept under the rug, like you said. And yeah, I mean, I think that happens too with like people just sweeping stuff under the rug.
Yo, man, those fish, man, poor fish.
They did a number on him. He's got that bowl still in his house, and he looks at it every night. Why did I have the bowl?
He's sitting there staring at the bowl every night, like there's a reason why this bowl was here. I swear,
it doesn't make sense. I wouldn't just buy a bowl.
Hey, Milhouse going through it. He in love with Lisa. He's got an empty fish bowl sitting there. His parents are divorced. That man's going through it.
That's just a reflection of my life. Empty. Be a great, like, terrible, like, trippy movie. Just there's some movie out there where like a lady loses her kid on the plane, and everybody's like, there was no kid. But in this, this would be like a much lamer version of there were no fish.
I'm not watching that movie. That's just a horrible concept.
Yeah, I don't remember what it is. So. But on the flip side, I was listening to this podcast and they were talking about friend therapy. But like, would you ever go to therapy with your friends? And it was very interesting about how, you know, when you start having more of a conversation with people, like, for example, I've got a group of friends, we do D&D together. And last session, one of the players did something the other players didn't like, and it caused some conflict. And then today we were kind of just talking through it online. Just like, hey, this was really frustrating. And, you know, we spent some time working out our issues, but we got through it and we came to the realization that, hey, we all love each other. That's why we're going to work on this. And it's just a good feeling to be a part of it. And so just as, you know, you can have those relationships that make you question reality, I feel like you can also have friendships that bring out the best of you. So before we dive into that, let's play our second clip. So this clip is where Bart and Milhouse meet for the very first time.
Hi. I have soy milk. The doctor says the real kind could kill me. I wish I was interesting like you. You're funny. I am? Yeah. Then the world needs a clown. Duty. Bugger.
It's such a short clip, but what I like about it is in that brief exchange, Milhouse found out he was interesting. Bart found out he was funny. They brought something out in each other. Have you ever had somebody bring out like a part of you didn't realize was there?
No, I've never had that before. No, I'm kidding.
No, I didn't think so.
Well, when I was 11 years old, I met this guy who ended up becoming my mentor. And he taught me a lot. Like, I was breaking this down in my head the other day. Could I say he taught me everything? And I'm like, it's hard to say no, because there's things that I've learned that on my own, you know, and through other whatever. But he's had a hand in everything I have learned. And that hand he's had has influenced everything I have learned. So my knowledge, even though it goes up, he may have started at the bottom with, just by giving me a little bit of information, but I've taken that information and built on it. And so if I come up here with this information, I still have to attribute it to him because he's at the base. Without him being at that base, I wouldn't have had the knowledge. I wouldn't have been able to, escalate, with my success, my communication, just who I am as a person. Like, so to answer your question, absolutely. Like, I've got multiple people in my lives that have influenced me, but I can say, oh, a lot of that is family, but this guy that was my mentor wasn't my blood related family and all. He started off as a friend and then became family. But yeah, 100%.
The guy sounds jacked. Like, does he work out a lot?
He has this thing where like he thinks like this about himself, and he's really not that great of a guy.
God, I hate guys like that.
I mean, he's cool. Don't get me wrong, but sometimes you're just like, hey.
When he sees you, he probably says, "Hey, playa, what's the happy hat?"
Yeah, that's exactly what he said. That's exactly what he says.
I think for me in the business world, I went through these really hard struggles in my 30s where I was hospitalized for a little bit for mental health. And I remember thinking like, I'm never going to work again. Like my life's over. And there was a guy who I worked with who was like, no, you've got leadership skills in you. And he believed in me and he brought that out of me and brought me to where I am now. And I think the other really cool thing about friendship, like, you and I have very busy lives, but I feel like when we connect, it feels like no time has passed at all.
Yeah. I'm obviously with the whole catching up, it's like, oh, we haven't talked in a long time. Let me fill you in. But like, no, we pick up on the same beat that we left off on. Like it's no like real arguments and like, oh, you didn't do this or you weren't here for that. It's like we have an understanding that we have lives, and I think even in that's a good trait for a friend to bring out of you, an understanding of another person's real life. And there's gonna be times they're just not gonna be there for you. And if you can accept that, bro, that's a positive for any relationship, I would think.
Yeah, that's couldn't agree more with you on that. I think that's such a huge, I think for me, I've experienced times where if like I'm not there all the time for somebody, they're like, well, what the heck? Why don't you care? And I'm like, I can't. I just can't be that. And like, I love it when, so for example, I'm just getting really quick. So my last job when I left, they threw like a happy hour for me, and somebody who I was really close to was like, yeah, I'm so excited to be there. Well, she ended up missing it to get her kids. And I didn't know what the story was. She just wasn't there. And I was like, I wasn't like, how dare she? I was just like, oh, something came up. And she messaged me and she was like, I'm so sorry I missed this. This happened. And I was like, it's good. I knew if you could be there, you would. That's all that matters. And I think that's so freeing and loving to people when you give them that gift of just like, I get it. You got stuff going on. Here's an open invite. Let's connect when you get time. But because I think the other side, I mean, you kind of experienced a little bit when you're just trying to connect with somebody and somebody's like, why are you freaking out? I'm blocking you. It sucks.
Yeah. One of the things, I don't even know if this even, I know it relates, but it's just bear with me.
No.
I've had to learn what friendship is. And I'm talking being in my 30s, late 20s and whatnot, learning like I'm keeping people along. I'm contacting them. When the weekend comes, I'm like, hey, what are we doing this weekend?
Yeah.
And doing that for so long and not even realizing that if I don't pick up my phone, if I'm not the first one to make the call, my phone doesn't ring. And I didn't realize that until I got like into my 30s. And, my wife was like, stop picking up the phone. Like, not that they were calling. She's like, you stop being the one to call and see what happens. Bro, my phone stopped ringing for like 3 years. It was like, wow. Like I guess because I say that to say when it comes to the word friendship, my family, we take it real serious because we don't have much family here where we live, and our family's spread out. We don't have family reunions and all that stuff. So when we meet friends and we get close with people, we're like, no, you're family. Like, it's after a while, it's like, oh, that's your friend. No, that's my cousin. That's brother, or whatever the case is, because we take family that serious and whatnot. And so in that, we take friendship serious. And so some might look at me and be like, hey, your expectations are too high. And some might look at it like, wow, he's really loving, but it's just, I don't know, figuring that out.
Yeah, there's so many good points he had in that. And I really like what you said about like learning what friendship is.
Yeah.
Because, there's this great saying, show me your friends and I will show you your future.
That's crazy you said that, because I've never forgot when you first told me that. I never understood that. You told me that and I didn't agree. I didn't understand it. I was like, what are you talking about? Like, and then you explain it. You're like, well, who you hang with, who you socialize is where you hang, basically. And it was like, I don't know. Because then I'm thinking, well, if I'm, a billionaire and I decide to keep friends with Johnny over here, and Johnny's not doing much for himself, Johnny don't have a job or anything like that, but I still remain friends with Johnny. I thought when you told me that, I'm like, bro, what's stopping me from being a billionaire? I'm still going to do what I'm supposed to do. Johnny's my friend. He does what he wants to do. And then as you get older, as you see, like I said, I didn't start really understanding friendship because I had to sit and really go, what is friendship? And it had to be explained to me. It was like, those people that say, hey, we want you to come along with us this week or on Wednesday to have lunch. And then they call you, hey, are you coming? And they're adamant about you coming, and they're and then they understand when you can't come, or they're willing to pick you up, or they're willing to, when people are willing to participate in your lives and they show it consistently. And it's like, they're not wanting nothing from you except you, your time, and your face. When you got people like that, because mind you, I was in a position where I'm like, the people that were in my face wanted me to be involved. I'm like, man, I don't really want to hang with them. Like, man, I don't feel like it today. I want to go hang with, Daryl or whatever. And it was like, yeah, you're calling Daryl. And hey, Daryl, what are you doing? Oh, I guess nothing. Can we kick it? Yeah, sure. But Daryl didn't call me, but you got Johnny that's calling me. Johnny wants to involve me and stuff. And when I had and as a grown man learning that, not as a teenager, not as a kid, as a grown man learning that, it can be heartbreaking at times to realize, like, you know what? This relationship is not what I thought it was to be, because I'm the one keeping it up. It's being one-sided. And so I can't force a person to handle their part in a relationship. If a person is people are going to do what they want to do at the end of the day. So with that, I had to let go. And the tough part about letting go that people don't tell you is you're letting go of somebody that didn't give effort. So it doesn't faze them that you're letting them go. They're going about their lives regularly. You're the one that has to sit there and go, man, I can't call them. Man, I shouldn't call her. Or I shouldn't. I want to, and I want to evolve. I want to vent to them and tell them how I feel about how this is going, and but I can't, because it is what it is. They don't care. We've gotten to this point here where we're at now, where it's like, I just have to let it go. But I'm the one harnessing the emotions from that. That's the tough part people don't tell you about when it comes to letting go of friends.
Mm.
Man, I just went on a whole rant. My bad.
No, that's what this is here for. This is the whole point of the podcast. And I like what you said there, because I do think, I feel like with those friends who you, like you're saying, you're like, I really wanted to connect with them. I want, and they're not returning that. I think it also takes a toll on your psyche of like, am I not good enough? Why are they not reaching out to me? Am I not funny enough? Am I not cool enough? What's wrong with me that I can't connect with them? And yeah, I think also just looking for the people who do call.
To make everybody feel sane, we are in a time frame within the last 5 years where we second guess everything we do. Every decision we make, every person we interact with, everything, we second guess it. Like, so you're not crazy when you think, am I tripping for not calling Joe? Or am I tripping for, not being upset with Joe for not being there at the celebration? You know what I mean? It's like everything we second guess, and it makes sense. So we're not crazy. A lot of stuff has happened within the 5 years. And that goes into what you're saying. Is like where the anxiety gets there, and then we're like, wait a minute. I've been a good friend. At least I thought I was. Was it the way I smelled, or was it something I said, or something I did, or whatever the case? But I don't know. I think we're all yearning for closure in life in general, because you got COVID, you got a bunch of stuff going on around the world, and the politics and the injustice and the justice. You got a lot of things being enhanced right now. And let's just make it clear, people, we're not crazy. We're not crazy. Yeah, it's okay that we are second guessing, but what's not okay is self-depreciation. Don't let yourself depreciate because of something someone else did or a decision that they made without you. Like, I think, man, look, go ahead, man. I'm gonna zone out. My bad. I was gonna zone out, just get to preaching, and no.
I thought you were gonna say, like, have I been talking this whole time? I had an out-of-body experience. No, you're doing great. Seriously. I think that's like your passion is something I've always really appreciated about you, that you're very thoughtful in this stuff. And
I love mental health. Okay. Yeah, I guess you could say I've never said that. That's great. I've never said that all out. I do love mental health because it's such a easy thing to take care of, but it is very, very easy to mess up. And I think my aspect that I love about mental health is that you could do some of the littlest things and just change someone's day, someone's thinking, outlook, and whatnot. And that is what I love about friendship. You can change a person's outlook. Your friend, they trust you. Your friend's sad today or whatever. They look down. They don't say that they're sad. Something small like that. I come up, I notice you're sad, and I say, hey, Joe, them glasses, I don't know. I couldn't pull off colors. I do black. And then my other glasses are like metal, but they're like a gray. They're plain. Your glasses have color to them. I couldn't do that, but you make it work. Yeah. Something that simple. And I mean that, by the way. I 100% mean it. I can't do colored glasses. I just went to the yesterday we went and got me some new glasses because, like I said, these ones are scratched. I lost my other pair. Yeah. And I got neutral colored glasses. And I saw the colored lenses and I'm like, or frames. And I was like, I can't pull that off. I'm seeing you with it. I'm like, you can do that. I don't know how you can do it, but I can't. So
I do get a lot of compliments on these. I do like them. I will say it would have been really funny if after that you were like, by the way, totally don't. That's just a random example. Don't agree with that in the least bit.
Like, yeah, I wouldn't. It was just an example. I'm not pretending that to you whatsoever. It's just nah. But something that simple, I promise you, you're gonna carry that for 24 hours.
Yeah.
Just thinking like, you know what? Somebody said my glasses look good. Damn it.
Yeah. and you know, I think one thing that you kind of like popped into my head with what you were saying, I know for me, a small moment like that changed my life. One of my mentors, Matt Enningenberg, he
shout out to Matt.
Yes, we love you, Matt. If you listen,
we love you, Matt.
And I just got my driver's license, and he was my youth pastor, so I met him at church, and his car was the only car in the parking lot. And I thought, how funny would it be if I was such a terrible driver, I crashed into his car? So I didn't. Everybody thinks the next part of the story. Everybody thinks.
Wait a minute.
Everybody thinks the next part is I crashed into his car.
I definitely thought that was.
But that's not what happened. I just thought it was funny. So I parked and went in, and I said, Matt, what would you do if I crashed into your car? And he goes, it's just a car. And that was the first time I realized I was more important than something. And I've kept with it. And he doesn't remember it, obviously, because it's nothing big, but just that little, like, hey,
that was nice.
Was huge.
That's nice. I ain't never heard nothing like that. You know what? To piggyback that moment, there was this one time we was together, and we went to McDonald's, and we went back to your crib to play games and whatnot. And I remember getting out the car, and you didn't lock the car. And then we went in the house, and you locked the car, the house, the front door or whatever. And I was like, bro, you ain't gonna lock your car or the house? And you said, if somebody takes it from me, they needed it more than me. I never thought of that. I said, what? Ever since then, I've had that mentality. Like, but that's just what I thought of when you said the whole Matt in the car thing. It's just like, you know, what matters? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? What really matters in this life? And obviously, relationships matter way more. That's why they come up with the term that, you know, networking could be your next successful venture and whatnot. It's because relationships matter more than the materialistic things and whatnot.
Yeah. Well, I definitely think the reason I appreciate your friendship is because I do think it pulls the best part of me out. It allows it. I think we highlight each other. And
you know what's weird? I think I never got a grasp on my impact on you, because you're older than me, and I feel like I've learned so much from you. And so like my appreciation for you is like, oh my gosh, through the roof. And you'd be like, no, my appreciation for you is through the roof. When I think of your appreciation for me, I'm like, I don't get it. What do you mean?
Well, I just say that to be nice. I'm kidding. No,
I'm like, all these years.
No, I will say that for me, it was growing up. I think I was Bart in this scenario where you were like, you're funny. And I was like, really? And you saw a lot of good in me that I didn't see.
Wow.
And so you believed in me. And because you believed in me, I believed in me.
That was nice metaphor work there, buddy.
That's why we watched the clips.
I see what you did there, player.
So yeah, I think that's definitely where, and I think that's just the power of friendship, having a good friend who brings that out in you. And
would you say that if a friendship brings the negative out in you, that could be a positive?
Say more.
So if you call me out on not being available by choice. So let's say that, you know, you're always giving, always willing to be there. You go out your way and whatnot. And I tend to take the lax road where it's like, I could, but I'm not today. And it seems to be the pattern every time the ball's in my court. I'm not today. And then you call me out on it like, bro, you're kind of a horrible friend in that aspect. That's negative. Mm-hmm. That's kind of bringing the worst out of me. And if I'm a good person, I would want to change the worst out of me to be the best.
Yeah, I totally hear what you're saying. I think, yes, I think my approach. So I'm at the time of this recording, I'm doing a peer support specialist class. And one thing we're learning is basically how to see the positive in everything. Mm. And it's been really hard. I thought it would be easy, but it's actually been really challenging.
Really?
Yeah. So for example, I mean, so like in this example, I'd be like, hey, man, I love the fact that you can just go with the flow and you're okay. Just to let things happen. Are there ways that you can kind of just enjoy yourself, but we can still connect? Because I'd really like to connect with you and find ways to bring it out in a sense of not necessarily in a negative way, but in a way that, hey, this is part of who you are. I want to be a part of that. And trying to find a way to, I'm not the master of all things. You know, maybe some people need a good kick in the pants. And some people feel like they can give that. Good on them. I like the gentle approach. I don't know if that answers your question.
So let me ask you this. And that stuck out to me. What is hard about what did you say? The class you're taking. Oh, seeing the positive in everything.
Well, once you get to stuff like somebody who's manipulative, or somebody who's spend the last of their rent money on booze. Okay. That's hard for me because I want to be like, with manipulating, I want to be like, hey, watch out for this person. They're manipulative. But instead saying like, hey, I appreciate that you are aware of what you need. Okay. And I'm like,
I believe I can see the positive in every situation.
Well,
and I don't want to be bold and just jump out there like I'm just, but I think for me that comes from being in a lot of negative situations.
Sure.
And then having to try to think or see the positive to progress or whatever the case is or get through.
Yeah.
So like, and that's just what stuck out to me. I was like, wow, I've never heard that concept before of, pulling the positive out of everything. I think I naturally think like that, but like you said, that I believe that could be hard too.
Yeah. I was about to do a bit, but then I was like, oh, I should let you talk. But if people are watching this on YouTube, they probably just saw me go like, so I was going to do a bit. I wasn't actually irritated.
What's the bit?
I was going to say something. Look at you passing the test without doing the peer specialist class. Must be nice to be good. I'm trying my hardest here.
But you know what though? I think this is the part that caught me off guard with that. You taught me to see the positive out of everything. So I think you, in a sense, are invincible, but in that topic, I mean, like, I think that's your bread and butter, to be able to see the positive out of every situation. Like the manipulative one, that was a very good one. Like you said, you know how to get what you want. And I think seeing the positive in every situation is literally ignoring the negative. Just ignore that you cross somebody the wrong way to get to step 3. But we take that out. We're looking at like, you're trying to get to step 3, right? You're on step 1 and you got to skip step 2 because that's going to take too much time. And you're on a deadline. So how you going to get to step 3? And then they figure it out. Yeah. That's the part where I'm like, yeah, you manipulated your way, but you did figure it out. That's the positive, as bad as that sounds.
Yeah,
too,
no,
right?
I know. And I was going to say, like, for clarification with peer specialists, they walk beside people who are going through crisis. And there's another step with that too. So let's say, for example, somebody spends all their money on, booze versus rent. We'd say, hey, I appreciate that you know what you enjoy doing. Is there a way you can still partake in what you like, but still save money to pay rent, and kind of start helping them to think another aspect of it, but not putting them down right off the bat, being like, what are you doing? That's so stupid of you to spend money on that. You have rent.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
that's dope. I think that's like a basis in great friendship. That aspect of going like, hey, maybe we could still get you your satisfaction, but at the same time, take care of business. Mm-hmm. I'll help you figure out something if you're willing to try to figure. That is a friendship thing. A friendship themed thought. Yeah. That's how I'd see it.
Yeah, exactly. Agreed.
Let's not be too hard on each other because we've all had it hard these last couple of years. I think that's a fair assessment with, the sicknesses, the various, financial situations and the changes in this life, the government, the world. Let's take a step and not be too hard on each other. Let's give the benefit of the doubt a little bit towards one another. I feel like that's safe to say in order to get to some type of peace or unity.
Yeah.
That's all.
Well said. Well said. I think I had a friend who, during the pandemic, his mom died. On the same day his mom died, he got fired from his job. About not even a year later, his sister got diagnosed with a terminal cancer. And then his dad now is going blind. And I was like, hey, do you want to hang out this month? And he was like, hey, I'm so sorry, I haven't been there. And I'm like, dude, do not apologize. You've got stuff going on. Like right now, it's my time to be a friend for you. You don't have to worry about picking up the phone. That's my job.
Yeah, that as a person we all go through stuff, but that type of that's needed. That's so needed, man. Like it's like a breath of fresh air when somebody can tell you genuinely like, hey, it's all right. It's all right. I got this one. You good. Like that, that helps because especially when you come from a person that don't ask nobody for nothing or that has to be strong for other people and whatnot. Check on your strong friends. Goodness gracious. Yeah. Check on your strong friends.
Yep, exactly. So 3 questions I ask every guest.
All right.
When they're on the show. First question. This one might be a little easy, but still I'm going to ask it. Which clip did you think was the funniest?
Very favorite top 3 Simpsons moment is, well, why did I have the ball, Bart? Why did I have the ball?
Agreed.
Can't go wrong with that.
So classic. Great Millhouse moment. Of the 2 clips, which one did you find more meaning out of? Like, which clip did you feel like you learned? You felt like there was a good conversation about?
Why did I have the ball, Bart? Why did I have the ball? And the reason being is because there's a multitude of emotions on both sides. There's a multitude of meanings. There's different perspectives. There's so much within the simplicity of the situation that if you really wanted to break it down, there's a deep understanding of how relationships function at times. And I think that is that clip, like, literally generates the engine of how a relationship runs.
Yeah.
You've got the defensive side, you've got the vulnerability, you've got the communication, you've got the honesty, then you've got the white lies, not so honest, the kind of cover-ups. So there's so many things there. And it's like, yeah, on the surface, you're looking at a very simple Simpsons clip that lasts 19 seconds, but you could take so much from that.
Yeah. I'm going to go with when they first met, because I think just the subtlety of how to build a good relationships there. It's so quiet, because I like when Milhouse is like, because the doctor says regular milk could kill me. That's not super like exciting. But Bart's response is, I wish I was interesting like you.
Yeah.
He could have said, wow, that's sad, or oh boy. But he was like, I wish I was interesting. And then Bart saw like he was drinking the milk and just made an opportunity to make him laugh, make him smile. That was the goal. And Milhouse saying, you're funny. And just like those little interactions,
like, changed his life.
Yeah, exactly.
Just by telling him he's funny, changed his whole life. Because Gus was sitting there on the bench by himself, no friends, and then Milhouse comes and just tells him you're funny. And now he got the whole playground laughing at him. And then, of course, if you watch The Simpsons, you see that's how Bart's character carries out. So it's like,
and it wasn't something Milhouse put in him. It was already there. Milhouse just pulled that out.
Bars.
Last question is, if we had to do a deep dive, just take one of the clips and dive deeper. Which clip would you want to dive deeper into?
The meeting interaction, because I've already dug into the bowl.
Well, why did I have the bowl, Bart? Why did I have the bowl?
I've already dug into that. Because I've dug into that, I would dig into the whole initial meeting and whatnot. I think one of the main reasons is because I don't think I've had interactions like that where I just made a friend because someone was like, hey, Greg, you're funny.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you know what? You're right. Come here, everybody on the playground. Listen to me. Like, and digging deep into that, it's just a new experience. It's like, I've never experienced it.
Yeah. You had some really good thoughts about the fishbowl one. So I actually want to go there because there's a whole different side of Milhouse's perspective on the fish I didn't think about. So I would probably go with that one. So before we wrap up, I want to talk to you about your podcast, your channel. So we kind of mentioned it. It's not Battle Rap Ungifted, is actually Battle Rap Unfiltered. I will tell you guys right now, I'm not a huge rap fan. I know nothing of it, but Greg is so charismatic. I will watch episodes just because it's so fun watching him be part of it. So like, even if you're not a huge rap fan, it's fine. It's still worth watching. And I think it's really cool because you guys cover local artists, or do you guys do all levels?
Pretty much all levels. Recently we did local artists from Minnesota and whatnot, but and we did a few good interviews, did actual battle rap event. Yeah, so locally I'm actually trying to tap into that a little more, which is kind of a newer thing, but mostly it is, across the map, West Coast, South, down South, Midwest, East Coast, and whatnot. And then the tiers of levels of, how do you say this? The level of artists and how well they are compared to others. Like we try to cover everything. We try to cover everybody and everything because there's a lot of battle rappers. There's a lot of battle leagues. It's a lot of events. It's a lot. It's a community. It's a battle rap community, man.
Yeah, I feel like you treat it as such. I mean, it does feel like a community.
Yeah.
Where can they find the podcast, the YouTube? Where could people go to find that?
So we are on pretty much all social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I made a TikTok. I don't know how to work TikTok.
Me neither.
I made the TikTok one day at like 4 a.m, put up some videos. I don't remember the login, the name, none of that. I don't know. It's lost out there in the internet world, but I'm sure I'll find it. But every social media platform, we're on there. Battle Rap Unfiltered. YouTube is one of our big ones where it's like, go on there, click the subscribe, like, comment. We're pretty open. We're, whether you know about battle rap, whether you don't know about battle rap, whether you want to know about whatever, it's just like, you could go on our channel. We're pretty informative.
Yeah.
Pretty informative.
I agree. Very cool. Go check it out. Definitely worth seeing. For me, I got a second podcast called Two Voices, One Story. It is a deep dive into some struggles that I've gone through and other struggles. Hopefully by the time you are listening to this, we'll have put up other personal stories going on. So it's just an area where we're really honest about mental health and so forth. So
I love that show. Like I was watching episodes. See, I'm a night owl. I work overnight. And so I gotta listen to something to keep me up at work. And then when I get off of work, I still am up. And I was digging into your guys' podcast and whatnot. And I love the fact that you guys are talking about stuff that like isn't like the average conversation. It's not like this conversation about friendship. That could be considered the average conversation.
Sure.
But what you guys talk about on Two Voices, it'd be the hard stuff that people don't really want to address. That stuff where it's like, whoa, you guys are gonna go there, and you guys are like, yeah, in a healthy way.
Yeah.
I like it.
I appreciate it. Greg, it was such a pleasure to have you on. I love you.
No,
I want to have you on again.
No, it was a pleasure for me to be on and you to have me on. All right. Get it right, Joe. Get it right.
Sorry, sir. I really am. I'll edit this and make it correct. All right, everyone. Keep watching those clips and we'll see you next time.